Excellent day. Thank you all tremendously for joining us for Columbia Housing's public hearing on its annual plan for fiscal year 2023. Our fiscal year begins July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023. So today you are going to hear from myself, Mrs. Talisha Stewart, who is our SVP of Resident Strategic Initiatives, and Cindy Herrera, who's our Chief Development Officer. I should probably start by introducing myself. My name is Yvonda Bean. I am the interim CEO for Columbia Housing and Casey Housing. It is our mission that because Columbia Housing cares, we are leveraging the power of housing to build a foundation for individuals and families to thrive. And with that, we have a vision of creating communities of opportunity where individuals and families can live, work, and thrive to their fullest potential. Today, we'll go through an annual plan which will provide updates on our progress over the last year, but also share with you our goals for the upcoming year. Next up is the activities timeline. The activities timeline is a very critical part of the annual planning process. It is regulated by HUD. HUD requires that PHAs take very specific action as it relates to the annual plan. So the initial public comment period for the annual plan began on February 18th through April 4th of this year. During the public comment period, we afford community partners and residents an opportunity to review the plan and provide any feedback or make suggestions that they may have during that period of time. The next item on the activities timeline includes the Resident Advisory Board meeting. We held a special meeting on March the 22nd with our Resident Advisory Board. It was well attended and we got some awesome feedback from our residents, and so we're excited to be able to implement those changes in our annual plan. The next item on the activities timeline includes the public hearing. So today is the public hearing, April the 7th, 2022. We'll have a board meeting next this afternoon at 4:30 where the Board of Commissioners will approve the annual plan. After which, the annual plan will be submitted to HUD for its final review. HUD actually requires that the annual plan be, the board-approved annual plan be submitted to them 75 days before the start of the agency's fiscal year, which for us begins July 1, 2022. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Talisha Stewart, who is our Senior VP of Resident and Strategic Initiatives, to talk to you all a little bit about our strategic goals, our progress, and the plans going forward.
Thank you, Yvonne Bean, our Interim Chief Executive Officer for Columbia Housing. I am Talisha Stewart, and today I will be discussing with you the strategic goals for Columbia Housing and the progress we've made in accomplishing the goals over the past fiscal year. Our first goal is resident strategies. Our resident strategy goal states that we will strengthen relationships with the people we serve by increasing mutual accountability and by improving our ability to connect them with vital services in the community that will foster economic self-sufficiency and quality of life opportunities. The objectives for this goal is that we continue to support an independent resident executive council, and we promote economic and self-sufficient opportunities for residents served by Columbia Housing. So within the past fiscal year, Columbia Housing has partnered with a number of agencies to bring resources to our community members that will foster economic self-sufficiency and quality of life opportunities. We've created new partnerships in the areas of employment services, financial literacy, Violence Against Women's Act, senior services, youth programming, health and wellness opportunities. As part of our resident services initiatives, we were awarded over $401,000 in ROS funds from HUD. The ROS program is there to provide supportive services for public housing families. The program offers a series of programming centered around workforce development and financial literacy. In addition, we just received notification that HUD awarded us $119,000 in funding to support our family self-sufficiency program. The funds are used to provide coordination of supportive services and assisting residents with successfully graduating from the program and fulfilling the goals established in their contracts of participation. Our Resident Executive Council has evolved into a more independent entity through the training and development efforts conducted by Columbia Housing. We are in the process of establishing a designated office for the REC board at the Cecil Tillis Center. The second goal that we have is centered around our Housing Choice Voucher Program. The goal is to maximize our leasing capacity based upon annual budget authority and maintain program compliance in accordance with HUD regulations. The objectives for this goal include continuous operational improvement through increased technology, including paperless processes that lead to more effective and efficient operations and best support the families that we serve. We will also expand our landlord participation through creative incentives that attract and retain our landlords. Our Housing Choice Voucher Program continues to be a standard performing program, and we've continued to build our relationship with landlords within our community. Our third strategic goal is for our homeless programs. We will expand our collaborative partnerships with our county and citywide efforts to reduce the families at risk of experiencing homelessness or at risk of losing housing. The objectives for this goal include we will reduce homelessness by providing supportive housing for individuals and families who are chronically homeless and who are disabled. We will also apply for funding to support the continuum of care and housing opportunities for persons with HIV and AIDS. In doing so, we will submit applications annually to support our COC and our HOPPA programs, and we will manage operations and budget expenditures to maximize program implementation. Within the past fiscal year, Columbia Housing was awarded 84 emergency housing vouchers by the U.S. Department of Housing Development to assist individuals and families who are homeless or at risk of being homeless with obtaining stable housing. As of today, there are 63 other applicants have executed lease agreements. The Continuum of Care and the HOPPA Permanent Supportive Housing Programs continue providing stable housing for 72 chronically homeless families. We were recently awarded over $753,000 in Continuum of Care funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to support our program for the funding year 2022-2023. Our next strategic goal is homeownership. We will create opportunities for residents and program participants through coordination of homebuyer education, resources, and activities that increase homeownership opportunities. Our objectives include increased access to homeownership opportunities by providing education, counseling, and resources for current Columbia Housing Program participants and the community at large. We will also affirmatively further fair housing by ensuring that all operations within the Columbia Housing adhere to fair housing regulations. Within the past year, Columbia Housing's homeownership program continues to be thriving, and it serves many individuals and families with becoming homeowners. During the fiscal year, 339 individuals attended our home buying education classes. 73 participated in housing counseling sessions, and 9 Housing Choice Voucher families purchased homes, leading us to have 82 families who are active in our Housing Choice Voucher homeownership program. Our fifth strategic goal is human resources and personnel development. We will embrace the agency's new identity by transforming its organizational structure and culture through the establishment of a track record for integrity, accountability, collaboration, and exceptional customer service. The objectives for this goal are we will improve human resources functions by creating an electronic personnel management system and implement strategies to improve personnel capacity and ensure that supervisors and employees are properly trained on their job responsibilities. In an effort to support our human resources and personnel development goal, we have established an employee electronic evaluation process. We provided free gym membership for employees and immediate family members to foster great health and mental health awareness. We've established a maintenance apprenticeship program in partnership with Midlands Technical College. In addition, we provided customer service and discrimination training for all Columbia Housing staff. Our sixth strategic goal is centered around community safety and security. We will develop a comprehensive strategy through engagement of Columbia Housing's communities and law enforcement agencies that can improve public safety and the quality of life within our communities. The objectives for this goal is that we will increase capacity of the security staff by developing internal resources to support strategies that will address criminal activities in communities while providing resources and support in partner with Columbia Police Department and Richland County Sheriff Department fighting crime efforts. In addition, we will implement community crime prevention programs that will reduce criminal activities and engage residents as core planners and facilitators of crime-fighting strategies. Our community safety and security strategies has led us to create a comprehensive strategy to establish residents as first responders, to reduce their vulnerability through awareness tools, provide education opportunities for residents to engage with law enforcement, and create partnerships that teach awareness and address resident safety concerns and more. Some of the special initiatives that we've conducted over the previous fiscal year are Columbia Police Department's Reach One, Teach One resident engagement program, VAWA education program, fire safety and crime prevention training for our residents, community watch night, teen summit, national night out, and our community safety team works directly with our resident executive council and attend all of their meetings. Our seventh strategic goal is centered around our IT services. We will create innovative ways that Columbia Housing can maintain smooth functioning of its infrastructure and operational environments that support application deployment to its internal and external customers. The objective for this goal is that we will increase connectivity and narrow the digital divide throughout our communities by partnering to install the broadband infrastructure. During the current fiscal year, our IT strategies included updating the internal data wiring in our buildings, working with an outside partner to ensure that our equipment is always up to date and functioning efficiently, and we have upgraded our phone system to provide reliable calling experience whether employees are at home or in the office. Our eighth strategic goal is Violence Against Women's Act, which is also known as VAWA. We will enforce and protect the rights of victims of domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking to secure and maintain housing without being victimized a second time by being denied housing or losing housing because of criminally violent act perpetrated against them. The objective for our VAWA program includes provide ongoing communication with public housing residents and Housing Choice Voucher Program participants to disseminate VAWA information and maintain awareness of protections under VAWA. Within the past fiscal year, Columbia Housing hosted a VAWA community outreach event along with local law enforcement. And also we held a VAWA workshop in partnership with South Carolina State Attorney General's Office to inform community members of domestic violence resources and their rights under the federal law. We continue to work with our families of domestic violence by providing them with transfers to communities when necessary. We also refer families to our resident service department for additional resources, as well as encourage them to collaborate with police and local domestic violence advocates. Our ninth strategic goal is communications and community engagement. We will build support for housing as a key component of vibrant, sustainable communities through the communication of public information, engagement, and advocacy that promote affordable housing and support the advancement of low-wealth individuals and families. The objectives for our communications goal are use social media and website platform to bring awareness and transparent communications of Columbia Housing's community activities, business opportunities, and administrative changes. We will also enhance website features through the expansion of business portals for applicants, residents, staff, landlords, and board of commissioners. Over the past fiscal year, Columbia Housing hosts a recurring series of online Zoom virtual town hall meetings for residents and the community at large ahead of key local, state, and national elections. Over the past fiscal year, we've had a number of communications initiatives to support our communications and effective community engagement goal. Some of those initiatives include our Housing Power Hour, Get Plugged In, our Community Impact Report, our social media short video series, which featured our Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director in a series of member subscribers in our database, our Max the Vax campaign to combat COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy, Zoom into the Polls, which is Columbia Housing's series of hosting recurring online Zoom virtual town hall meetings for residents and community at large ahead of local, state, and national elections. Our 10th strategic goal is public housing. We will continue to implement our Vision 2030 plan to reposition every public housing community. We will maintain program compliance in accordance with HUD regulations. The objective of this goal is we will organize and improve administrative operations for the public housing program that best support the needs of families served. And we will refine management strategies that will ensure Columbia Housing is operating in accordance with HUD's housing standards by providing quality and stable housing conditions. Our 11th and final goal is capital assets. We will support asset repositioning strategies through capitalization and conversion utilizing all available HUD tools. The objectives for this goal include active engagement of residents in relocation strategies and repositioning assets. We will create public-private partnerships utilizing private capital to reposition the real estate portfolio. We will exit the public housing program by 2030, and we will maximize the use of tax-exempt bond program to increase affordable housing throughout Columbia and Richland County. At this moment, I will turn the presentation over to our Chief Development Officer, Cindy Herrera, to do an update on capital assets and our public housing.
Hello, my name is Cindy Herrera, and I am the Chief Development Officer for Columbia Housing, and I'm very excited to be with you here today to share with you an update about our Vision 2030 plan. Vision 2030 represents the culmination of almost 2 years of planning in which we've assessed all of our public housing portfolio to determine what the best reuse and how to best reposition the properties. What we learned through this assessment process is that we have a capital need of over $250 million. Vision 2030 will guide us and serve as our strategic framework through which we will reposition this public housing portfolio and at the same time create new affordable housing through the creation of public and private partnerships utilizing private capital. Public housing, as it's known, is a traditional program that is statutorily prohibited from accessing private capital. But what HUD has done is provide housing authorities with some new and exciting tools that allow us to be able to access that private capital so that we can address the backlog of the capital needs. The primary tool is the Rental Assistance Demonstration Program. And what RAD does is it removes the properties from public housing and puts them on a different platform of subsidy so that we can access private capital. The tools that HUD has provided us is a large toolbox, and it includes a variety of tools, RAD, as I just mentioned, as well as the Section 18 program, the Mixed Finance program, and a voluntary conversion program. We're going to use all of these tools to be able to address our entire portfolio. We've partnered with some of the most exciting and best affordable housing developers throughout the southeast of the country. The slide that you see here is just a list of the many partners that we are working with on this large undertaking through our Vision 2030 plan. We're very excited to have brought all of them with us. The first one I want to talk to you about is the Oaks at St. Anna's Park. This is the former Gonzales Gardens community. It will be redeveloped into a new community that will consist of 95 senior units and 190 family townhome units. The total development cost to redevelop this site is over $58 million. We are very excited to announce that we will be closing on April the 14th on the Oaks at St. Anna's. It's been a great undertaking, and we're very excited to have reached the point. We invite all of you to join us for the groundbreaking. We anticipate that the occupancy will begin in March of 2024. The project is about almost a 2-year construction period. The next project is the Haven at Palmer Point. Also very excited that this project will be closing later this year. The Haven at Palmer Point is the replacement of the Marion Street high-rise, and this also was being redeveloped under the Section 18 tool provided by HUD. The Haven at Palmer Point will be 150 senior units. It's located at the corner of Carter Street and Two Notch Road. The total development cost will be over $31 million. We anticipate we will close the Haven in July of this year, and occupancy will be in December of 2023. Again, very excited about this new project and to be able to replace the housing that we've lost through the loss of Marion Street. The next development is the Allen Benedict Court Replacement Project. This one does not yet have a name. We're still working on it. The demolition is underway and almost completed as we present to you today. We are working with our development partner to be able to come back to you in the near future with some more concrete plans of exactly how we will redevelop the Allen Benedict Court site. Single-family homes. The Housing Authority owns a total of 267 single-family homes throughout Columbia and Richland County. As we've assessed these homes, we've determined that they're in varying states of conditions. So we anticipate a combination of rehabilitation, some disposition or sale, and some demolition. All of the homes will convert to project-based vouchers, and we're very excited to be able to implement a lease purchase program that will ultimately be done using the Housing Choice Voucher Home Ownership Program. So the long-term goal of our single-family homes is to convert all of those to affordable home ownership for our families. The next is the RAD, and the majority of our properties will be converted under the Rental Assistance Demonstration Program. We've broken our RAD projects into phases. The phase 1 of our RAD will consist of Latimer Manor. Latimer Manor is currently 200 units. It will be what HUD refers to as a RAD and a Section 18 blend and a transfer of assistance where some of the units will be transferred to other locations. It will be a demolition of the entire site with new construction being built back on the land where Latimer Manor stands today. 114 of the units will transfer to various other locations around the city and county. 86 RAD units will come back to the Latimer Manor site, along with some tax credit and other affordable housing units, as well as a home ownership component that will be built on the Latimer Manor site. We've submitted our RAD application to HUD, and we are simply awaiting receipt of HUD's approval of that application. The Dora Randall community will also be very similar. It'll be a RAD and a Section 18 blend with some transfer of assistance. We will have 28 units that will transfer elsewhere, 24 RAD units, but the total number of units that will go back on the Dora Randall site will be approximately 80 units. Again, we've submitted our RAD application and are looking forward to HUD's approval. Hammond Village, our 78-unit community, will be a RAD and a Section 18 blend. At Hammond Village, we will be doing substantial rehab on all of the units, and we'll be financing that with some FHA tools and mortgages. Also, the application has been submitted, and we're waiting for HUD's approval. Lewis Scott Court, which is located in Eastover, currently 67 units, will remain at 67 units with substantial rehab, also to be financed through FHA mortgage tools. Also, the application has gone in, and we're awaiting the HUD approval on that one as well. And then our scattered site properties, this consists of 18 properties scattered throughout the city, a total of 305 units. Those will also be rehabbed. The Housing Authority will be doing the rehabilitation on those using our cumulative capital funds, and that application has also been submitted to HUD. Rosewood and Celia Saxon Will also be RAD conversions that will be rehabbed, and those properties will basically be combined with other units that are non-public housing in those communities. We will be utilizing FHA mortgages, and our RAD applications for those have also gone into HUD. So this phase one are all properties that have gone into HUD. This slide here shows you the detail of the scattered site properties. As I mentioned, it's a total of 18 properties with a total of 305 units. Rosewood Hills and Celia Saxon. This gives a detail of what that consists of. There'll be 83 units at Rosewood and 130 units at Celia Saxon, which combines both the public housing and some tax credit units. Those will be combined into a single project. Phase two of our RAD are additional projects that are underway. These are new construction projects. The first three, Willowbrook at Wateree and Willow Creek at Wateree, are two new construction projects that will be built in Richland County, close to the Columbia Mall. There will be RAD projects that transfer to these properties, and we hope to submit our RAD applications for these in June. Oak Grove at Hunt Club is also a new construction project in which we will transfer RAD units to those properties, and that application will go in June as well. Capitol Heights and Bayberry Muse, these are two properties that the Housing Authority currently owns. They are tax credit properties, old tax credit properties. They currently are not public housing, but the Housing Authority will be transferring 48 units of RAD to Capitol Heights and Bayberry. We will be undergoing a substantial rehabilitation at these properties, and we'll be financing that again with private revenue. And the last project in our phase two of our RAD conversion is Gardens at Greenview. This will be a new construction development that will consist of the demolition of English Meadows and a vacant parcel of land adjacent to English Meadows that we will redevelop, and we hope to have the application in December of this year for that project. I want to take a look overall at project-based vouchers. Project-based vouchers are very important to our development process. They serve as a critical development tool. We have selected our partners under a solicitation. This development tool will be used for properties that are not public housing sites and for new construction only. And I've listed 524 project-based vouchers that we will commit to this year, and they're projects that I just mentioned previously. And that's it. I'm going to thank you very much for sharing your time with us today, and I'd like to turn this back over to Ms. Yvonne Bean, our Interim Chief Executive Officer for Columbia Housing.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us for the presentation of Columbia Housing's fiscal year 2022-23 annual plan. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Cynthia Hardy, who will lead our Q&A.
Thank you, Ms. Bean. We do have some questions that have already come in, and I do want to thank people for joining us today and thank our live audience for joining us today, too. And to say to Cindy Herrera, Talisha Stewart, as well as Ms. Bean, good job. A number of questions that I have stemmed from that. Sabrina grew up in Saxon Holmes, she said. Ms. Bean, she says, congratulations on being named the new head lady, the interim CEO. We talked about strategic plans. She's interested in what you are going to do.
What was the name?
Sabrina. Sabrina Boyce.
Sabrina Boyce?
Boyce.
Boyce. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for that great question. As you heard today, our strategic goals have been outlined, which are all centered around our residents. Our residents are at the core of why we do what we do. You know, for us, we are going to, over the next couple of years, spend more time telling our story. We are a pillar within this community. We contribute not just to our families, but to the economic base of this community. And we're going to do a better job of telling our story. In fact, we just launched what we're calling a newsletter, but it's bigger than a newsletter. This is Columbia Housing. It's a campaign that we are going to each week focus on those things that are important to our residents, those things that are important to this community, those things that are important to this agency. We're going to be spotlighting our community partners who are critical players in helping us to deliver the services that we deliver to our to our families beyond housing, as well as we're going to highlight our families, our residents who are overcoming obstacles and challenges to realize their dreams of home ownership. And then, of course, there's the piece of community partners wanting to do business with Columbia Housing. We want to do business with you. So through this vehicle, you'll learn more about how you can also become a partner to Columbia Housing, as well as the Vision 2030 blueprint that you heard Cindy Herrera present to you just a short while ago. You'll be able to track our progress as we continue to implement that plan that will ultimately address, it's a solution. It's a solution that will address $250 million of capital improvement needs. And so we certainly have our work cut out for us, and we're up for the challenge, and we're excited about what the future holds for Columbia Housing.
A lot of people, Mrs. Bean, are asking questions about affordable housing in our market. And they want to know, will there ever be enough, affordable housing? Of course, one of the questions that was sent in to us said there's been a lot of talk around affordable housing. What are we doing to ensure individuals have access to affordable housing? But I think that point about will there ever be enough is worth kind of considering. Especially, people often think Columbia Housing is the only provider of affordable housing. So can we address that? And how would you like for this panel to address that?
Absolutely. I will start the conversation off first by saying that, the housing crisis that we're experiencing now is not exclusive to Columbia, South Carolina. It's a nationwide crisis that we're experiencing. The reality is that we can't build housing fast enough. There aren't enough resources to be able to address the tremendous need that exists today. For us, we are super excited about Vision 2030, which is going to allow us to not only reposition our assets, address those capital improvement needs, but also replace some of the housing that we've lost over the years for whatever reason. And so we're excited about being able to implement that plan to address the housing shortage, as well as we're doing some innovative and creative things along the lines of our Housing Choice Voucher program, and that we're offering incentives to landlords. Landlords, if you are out there, we are asking that you please give us a call. We are offering incentives. If you have a property that you are willing to add to our program so that we can provide housing, of course, to an eligible family, we certainly need you. We know that there are myths and rumors as it relates to Section 8 families or Housing Choice Voucher families, but we're here to dispel those myths. The reality is that whether you receive a Housing Choice Voucher or not, you cannot receive a Housing Choice Voucher and be a bad housekeeper, and that's just the reality of it. And so for us, we want to partner with you, work closely with you to be able to provide housing to an eligible family. And I'll turn it over now to Cindy in case you want to add anything.
Yeah, I would just add that another initiative that Columbia Housing has undertaken in the past year is that we've significantly increased the issuance of tax-exempt bonds for private developers. This is not housing that is owned or managed by Columbia Housing, but it's private developers who are developing affordable housing throughout our community. And the Housing Authority serves as a conduit to be able to issue those bonds so that this housing can be affordable to families below 60% of AMI. To date, we've issued over $100 million worth of bonds, and that's producing over 1,200 units of new affordable housing in our community. We have several other projects that are in our bond pipeline, and we will continue to work closely with developers who are interested in building new affordable housing throughout the community to expand that supply. It requires everyone. We can't do it by ourselves. And so by reaching out and working with the private developers, we've been able to significantly increase the availability of affordable housing that will be in our community in the future.
Cindy and Ms. Bean, can we break it down a little bit for our audience? The bond issuance and what that means, and then us actually doing the build ourselves.
Okay, good question, Cynthia. Basically, the bond program is a program by which the Housing Authority is able to issue tax-exempt bonds. When these bonds are issued, they automatically receive from the federal government a tax credit that makes the housing units affordable for individuals below 60% of the area median income. Those are properties in which we serve as the issuer of the bonds, but we do not develop, own, or manage those properties. In addition to that, Ms. Bean spoke a lot about our own portfolio, which we are also partnering with private developers, in which we are aggressively both redeveloping our portfolio to have better quality housing, and at the same time, we're looking at each community and trying to increase the density to provide additional units that will serve individuals in our community as well.
This question comes from BB. And BB says, back in the day, there used to be a lot of programs. Do we still have programs for young people? Because now she's a mother.
Oh, that is a fantastic question. I am going to turn it over to Ms. Talisha Stewart to respond to that one.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Bean. Yes, BB, we do have quite a few programs that we offer through Columbia Housing. As a matter of fact, if you go to our website, columbiahousingsc.org, you'll be able to click on the link to follow our Resident Services Department, where you'll see a lot of the programs we have. We do have some things that we do specifically for our young folks. During the week of spring break next week, we are partnering with the Richland Library, and they're going to 4 of our sites to do some literacy with our youth. Also, we'll be doing some physical activities as well. For our housing youth who are graduating from high school, we need you guys to contact us. We have scholarship applications that we would like for you all to complete with us. We have other different physical activity, education, health initiatives that we're doing with our youth as well. So in order to access the programs with Columbia Housing, you may contact myself or someone in our Resident Services Department, and we can get you connected with all the opportunities we have available through our Housing Authority.
And Ms. Bean, I just want to mention to you that the things that Talisha mentioned a moment ago, we probably need to make sure they're in that newsletter that you just talked
Yes,
about. Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. And I want to also add to that, that one of the things that we had to implement, and we call it pivoting. We like to call ourselves queens and kings of pivoting. COVID, of course, presented its own set of challenges. And one of the things that we did as it relates to being able to still connect with our residents was that some of the programs and the workshops that Ms. Stewart just referenced, we actually offered virtually. So we were still, even during the pandemic, able to engage our residents. We've had a tremendous amount of participation. We actually have hosted over 250 workshops on a myriad of different topics, from career development, credit counseling, finance, how to become bankable, just a number of different topics and initiatives that are important to our residents. So I just wanted to add that to what we're doing and what we have done as it relates to reaching our residents.
The next question to the panel, will there still be public housing after Vision 2030 is complete?
I will turn that over to Cindy to address.
The traditional public housing program, as we've known it, will no longer exist. But the communities that we're redeveloping and repositioning will certainly still exist, along with new communities that are part of the Vision 2030 plan. Public housing is a program, not a housing. It is a program. It was the first program that HUD actually implemented to build affordable housing. And so what we're doing is we're transferring that public housing to the Housing Choice Voucher or the Section 8 platform. So basically, tenants will still be fully protected. They will pay rent based on 30% of their income. There will be a subsidy then that is received from HUD to pay the balance of the rent, and those communities will continue to thrive, and the residents will be protected with many of the carryover protections from public housing. As I mentioned, their rent, they're guaranteed a right to return. It's a 100% guaranteed right to return to any property if they're a resident at the time of the conversion. And in addition to that, they continue other protections such as a 14-day notice for non-payment of rent versus the state law of 5-day notice. They continue to have rights to grievances. So while the public housing program as we know it will no longer exist, the protections for residents and for families will continue to exist, and we will continue to serve communities very much in the way we do. It's simply that our funding will be in a different mechanism.
If I could follow up, and you answered it at the end, so what will this mean to people who currently live in public housing? We have public housing complexes like Latimer Manor and others, so what will that mean to them?
All families living in any public housing at the time of the conversion or the portfolio repositioning have a guaranteed right to return. So if the property is going to be redeveloped, they will retain a guaranteed right to come back to the new property. They will also have other choices. There will be a very robust relocation process in which we work with families, whether they're relocating within the community because we're doing rehab and we're phasing the rehab construction, or they're relocating elsewhere until the new community is built. They will receive a significant amount of services. They will be educated on what all of their housing options are and all of their housing choices. They will be provided with vouchers if that's what they choose to do, and then they will be able to come back to the new community when the new construction is completed.
So we keep them connected.
We keep them very connected. The RAD requirements are very stringent about the connectivity and the continued rights of residents. And we will assure that those residents understand all of that and that they're fully informed.
So Danielle says, it's nice to see Columbia Housing's top leadership. A lot of landlords are raising the rent. She says she doesn't live in public housing, but a lot of landlords out there are raising the rent, and she wants us to know that's making it hard, and she might have to come to public housing because that's happening in the marketplace. Is there anything we can add to that?
So again, great question, Danielle, and it is a very harsh reality. Rents are skyrocketing across the country and in Columbia. I know that in the last year, the rents increased by roughly 11%, which is significant. And that was when I last checked, so it's probably a little bit higher than that in the last, couple of months or so. But one of the things that we do is we annually conduct what's called rent reasonableness, which is basically an assessment of rents for housing of comparable sizes when it comes to issuing vouchers to our families, and just to ensure that the rents are in line with market rents. One of the things, or another thing that we've also done is we've increased our payment standards. Our payment standards afford families an opportunity to rent in higher markets. Those payment standards are driven by HUD. They're based on fair market rents that are published annually, and HUD determines what percentage of the fair market rents we can make available to individuals who are participants of the Housing Choice Voucher Program. So there are certain actions that we can take. We have taken those actions to ensure that our families are successful in identifying affordable housing. Again, going back to the question earlier regarding the affordable housing crisis, the reality is that there just isn't enough affordable housing available to house everybody, but we're working as diligently as we can to create as much new affordable housing as we can.
There was a lot of mention of VAWA. Am I saying it right? And there's a question about what does that mean?
So I'll turn that over to Ms. Talisha to address.
Yes, thank you. So VAWA is a national initiative, and it is an acronym for Violence Against Women's Act. So it's actually a policy which protects persons who live in some type of subsidized housing if they were from being victimized a second time, if they experience any type of violence, dating violence, domestic violence, rape, stalking, any of those things. And one of the things that we do if any of our residents report to us that they are a victim of any of those violent acts, they do have the opportunity to possibly be transferred to another community where they'll feel safe. So basically with VAWA, we're trying to keep our families from being victimized a second time and just provide some protections for them if they're victims of any type of violent act.
And Talisha, do you get a number of people participating?
Well, we don't get a lot of people who request, but when the request comes to our voucher department or our public housing program, we do support our residents to make sure that they feel protected.
Okay.
And I do just want to add to that, because it's Violence Against Women's Act. It was initially enacted in early 1990s under Bill Clinton's administration. It identifies as women, but the reality is that it applies to all residents, all participants. So it's expanded beyond women. So men, unfortunately, can also be a victim of violence.
Sure. I do want to let our audience know that we have a podium and a microphone available if any of you all would like to go to the microphone and ask a question too. I know we got one out there. I see Councilman McDowell in the house, and so I know we probably at least have one question out there. So I'm going to ask a little bit more about our programs and where we're going with our programs. 200 programs is really quite impressive. What do we do to let the residents know about that?
Ms. Talisha, please.
So what we have with Columbia Housing is our Resident and Strategic Initiatives Department. And within the department, we have service coordinators that focus in areas of our youth development, senior services, and also persons that work with our families, as well as individuals that work with persons who are pursuing the goal of homeownership. So what we're trying to do is, during COVID, we had a lot of our programming that were offered virtually through Zoom because we wanted to make sure that we offer services but our residents were safe in participating. We're currently transitioning the way that we provide a lot of our programming for our residents, where we're going into a more in-person approach and work with our residents. Our service coordinators are one of the first line point of contact for our program for our residents. They send out information to our residents. We go door to door doing flyers. We have a new resident services case management system where we're able to put our resident information to the system and send this information out to them via text or via email. Also, we utilize a lot of our Columbia Housing platforms, such as our Facebook pages, our email network we do, as well as our other opportunity to send information out to our residents about a lot of the programming that we have available for them.
Ms. Stewart, the fact that COVID hit and we went online, does that mean a number of the programs, as you mentioned, are virtual, or have you gone back to in-person?
Right. So currently, most of our programs are still virtually, but at the moment, as far as our future planning, we have started some of our programs that are face-to-face. One example is our Gateway to Employment program, which started this week. That is one of our first in-person workshops that we started since we had the pandemic. We continue to have a vibrant homeownership program, which those classes are virtually because of the number of people that we normally have participated in those classes. So we're going to keep that program virtually for the moment, but all of our other programs, we're trying to get more face-to-face opportunities for our residents.
Ms. Bean, we got a question from the Columbia Council of Neighborhoods. They'd like to know why we do an annual plan. What's the purpose?
Absolutely, certainly. Great question. Thank you for that question, CCN. The annual plan is extremely important for a number of different reasons. One is it allows us to publicly comply with those regulations that are established by HUD. HUD requires that we be transparent in our fiduciary responsibilities, to be responsible with the resources that are awarded to our agency for the benefit of our residents. And so through the annual plan, we establish publicly what our annual goals are. And actually, you establish, or we're required to establish what's called a 5-year plan. And that 5-year plan was established a couple of years ago. And within each year thereafter, the creation of the 5-year plan, you're required to provide an update. So in other words, HUD says, okay, what are your strategic goals for the next 5 years? Now we want you to report annually on how you are accomplishing those goals and objectives that were established in your initial board-approved 5-year plan. And so each year, that's what we're doing. We're being transparent. We're going to the public. We're getting in front of our residents, engaging them, allowing them to be a part of the process as we talk about programs and plans to move the agency forward, because obviously they are at the core of why we do what we do. And so it's important for them to engage in the process as well. And so the annual planning process allows us to be able to engage not just the residents, but also the general community. It allows us to be transparent and share how we are accomplishing our goals, and just talk to you all a little bit about what we're planning on doing in the upcoming year.
Erin is asking about our new communities and how they're going to be designed. And will they look like our old public housing format, or is it a different look?
I will turn that over to Cindy.
Each community will be designed to be compatible with the neighborhood in which it's located, and so they'll all be unique and have their own unique characteristics. They will not look like the previous communities because those were built in the 1930s and 40s through the 1970s, and so design standards have changed significantly. Code requirements have changed, international building codes have changed, and so there'll be a lot of changes from what you may have seen in the past. But more importantly, we're looking at each community as unique and how it fits into the overall neighborhood. And so our development partners have partnered with architects and engineers here in the city of Columbia. And we are working, like I say, with neighborhood associations and with each of the communities in which these new developments will be constructed. The one that we're closing next week, the Oaks at St. Anna's Park, we've worked extensively with the Lion Street Neighborhood Association as well as the Forest Drive Neighborhood Association, and they've been instrumental in helping us with designs and layout and what they'd like to see in the community. So it's a very community-wide process as we move forward with planning each of the new communities.
And Cindy, is the Oaks at St. Anna's Park the old Gonzalez Gardens?
Yes, the Oaks at St. Anna's Park is located on the former Gonzalez Gardens site on Forest Drive across the street from what is now the MUSC Medical Center, formerly the Providence Hospital, yes.
Okay. People want to, I'm sorry, Ms. Bean, go ahead.
I'd like to add to that, we do have a groundbreaking scheduled for next Thursday at 12:30, I think is what we agreed upon per Councilman McDowell's schedule. So we're super excited about being able to finally get some dirt out of the ground. And so you all are welcome to certainly attend that event.
Councilman McDowell, would you come forward to the podium and just say a little bit about the significance of that development in your district? And thank you, sir.
Well, just let me say a word of thanks for each of you being here today. I don't want to say interim CEO. Dreams do come true. Let me thank our team for being here today, and Ms. Bean, thank you for your leadership and all that you've done these last 2 to 3 months. Thank you so much. It is very important, of course, as we move forward with Gonzalez and the redevelopment of that property. As you know, if I could just clap my hands and say, we finally got there. We finally got there. There has been much conversation about what was going to take place. We've met with everybody and all parties involved. Everybody seems to be very, very excited And of course, next Thursday, we will do the traditional shovel digging, which simply means that things are going to happen progressively. Is it important for our community? Yes. Is it important for the residents who will reside there? Yes. Is it important for our city? Yes. As you know, Columbia continues to expand itself. There has been that buzzword that we've heard not only in conversation, but also in the questions that has been raised about affordable housing. That's the buzzword.
It is.
And of course, this is going to give us that opportunity to expand our territory. That's not an original saying now. That comes from somewhere else, and it's called the Bible. So we are expanding our territory, and we are very, very excited, Ms. Bean, about the leadership you bring to this, to CHA, and your team, and all that is going to happen and will happen, particularly with Vision 2030.
Yes.
I do want to recognize some of our commissioners who are here today. Thank you all for your leadership. Thank you all for your the courage to do what we need to do as commissioners. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Counselor.
very much, Councilman.
you.
Thank you, Councilman.
There are other questions about developments, and of course, I mentioned when the councilman was coming forward about the fact that this particular new development will be in his district. The question is, do we have a lot of county or city developments that are going to be underway? Because you know what? People are thinking about population movement.
Yes, absolutely. We have both. We have developments within the city, and we are very excited to have some new developments in the county as well. And so we're looking forward to that. We have three developments that are well underway in the county that we hope to be able to reach a closing by the end of this year. That is Willow Brook and Willow Creek at Wateree, as well as Oak Grove at Hunt Club. And so we're very excited about those three developments. Willow Brook is a senior development of 104 units. Willow Creek and Oak Grove are family townhomes, and those will consist of about 140 units each. And so we're very excited about those developments that will be at new locations. In addition to that, as I think we mentioned earlier, Haven at Palmer Point is actually our next project that will open, and that's scheduled to close in July of this year. So we'll have another groundbreaking in July, and that's located at 1115 Carter Street, which is the corner of Carter Street and Two Notch Road. And so we're looking forward to all of those developments. In addition to that, we have multiple other developments, and we welcome you to our website where there's more detail about our Vision 2030 plan with each of the specific developments that are in progress.
Okay. This next question, and Talisha, this is one I know that is top of mind because you hear it from residents a lot. People want to know, will the new developments have good amenities? Can they have internet access? Will they have good security? Washing machines and dryers.
Absolutely. We have set
On all of those?
Yes, on all of those. And we've set a standard, and we have basically a standardized package that will go into each of our new developments. This includes, obviously, very energy efficient units. We have an appliance package that includes dishwashers and washers and dryers, as well as microwaves, stoves, and refrigerators, of course. We have amenities. Again, each of the amenities will be distinct to that particular community, but include things like playgrounds, walking trails. We have a pickleball court that's going in at the Haven at Palmer Point. For those of you that don't know, pickleball is the fastest growing sport for people over the age of 60 nationwide. And so we will have a pickleball court for our seniors because it is an active sport. We have computer labs, we have community rooms and community kitchens. The units themselves will all have for flooring LVT tile, which is a very good, nice-looking tile that looks like hardwood, very sturdy. All of them will have at least a minimum of a bath and a half. Most of them have 2 baths. So the units themselves will be spacious and very comfortable and very competitive. One of our primary goals in our Vision 2030 plan is that affordable housing is equal to market rate housing, and that our families receive the same amenities and the same benefits as market rate renters are able to purchase on the open market. And so we've been very conscious of that and making sure that all of that is provided. Internet access, Wi-Fi access will be in all of our new communities.
Okay.
It is a requirement that we have put forth as well as part of our standardized package for our new developments. We have in our senior buildings, and we have fitness centers, we have arts and crafts rooms, so we have a whole array of amenity spaces and amenities that will be available to the families. And security is a top priority. We have a security consultant that we're actually working with that looks at the plans for each community and identifies the lighting requirements. Some communities may be gated depending on their location, others may not. We want the communities to be a part of the larger neighborhoods, and so it's important that we integrate those and don't exclude anything. And so it depends, again, but each community is being designed and developed with its own uniqueness and how it fits into the neighborhood in which it's located.
Okay.
I just want to add to that.
Yes, ma'am.
All of the wonderful amenities that she talked about that we're building and focusing on in our new developments. One of the biggest takeaways was that all of what we're doing is going to create an enhanced and improved quality of life for our families, and that's extremely important to us.
And Ms. Bean, as you were speaking, I was thinking about the economic impact that it's going to bring to the areas. I mean, that's significant by itself. In addition to the money that's put into the development, there are other residual benefits that come as a result.
You know, I appreciate that comment, so much so because people don't often think of affordable housing or community development as economic development, but it is economic development. All of what we're doing creates jobs and opportunities for local contractors and vendors. And so what we do has a tremendous economic impact on the families we serve, on our community partners, on local government. It all is extremely critical and has economic. Affordable housing, or housing is infrastructure, housing is economic development.
Okay. We're coming down to wrapping up, so if anybody else has a question from the audience, you guys, this would be the time to come forward and ask it before I call for closing comments from Ms. Stewart, Ms. Herrera, and then closing with Ms. Bean. The last question that I have is, her name is Bev, and she lives in Lower Richland, and she said, did we forget them? Did we?
I want to say that we haven't forgotten anyone. We tried to lay out the plan in our phasing. Development is a huge undertaking, and I want to consistently remind everyone that this is a Vision 2030 plan.
Okay.
And so it takes time. Development is something that is a 2 to 3 year process. You've got a 2-year construction period. And so we're laying all the groundwork, making sure that we get all of our financing in place. All of our development is subject. Columbia Housing doesn't have millions of dollars sitting in the bank. All of our funding, we're relying heavily on private capital. And so all of our funding has to be put in place. But we have not forgotten anyone. All of our entire portfolio will be touched under our Vision 2030 plan. Some of them sooner than others, but all of you will, your housing units will be touched, will be improved, and will provide you with a better quality of life and better living conditions, as we've talked about.
Because, Ms. Bean, we currently have housing in the Lower Richland area, the Eastover area.
Correct.
Just want to make sure that people do know that. And
Correct.
also, the geographic area that we serve, Ms. Bean? Richland County, and it's the
Yes.
massive Richland County.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
But Columbia Housing also runs Casey Housing.
We do. We do. We actually have 41 units in which we manage in Casey, and Casey is also undergoing some redevelopment
Okay.
plans as well. The annual plan for Casey Housing will be presented April
Oh, yeah.
13th? Yes, April 13th. So
It's the 12th.
April 12th.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ms.
team.
McRoberts.
Thanks, Lee. April the 12th, in which we will be providing an update on its strategic goals and our development plan as well.
Well, today has been informational, very, very informational, and I'd like to ask our Commissioner, Kara Simmons, to please come forward. She has a comment.
I have a question or a comment.
Okay.
If Ms. Stewart could just highlight or talk more about, we talked about a lot about affordable housing, but if she could talk about our first-time home buyers programs that we have, and if we could just highlight a little bit more into that to let people know all of the different opportunities we have.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Yes, so Columbia Housing has been involved in the homeownership program for over 20 years now. And our current first-time homebuyer education classes allow our residents who have housing choice vouchers to use their vouchers to actually purchase homes. Currently, we have 83 housing residents who have purchased homes with their vouchers and who are active in our program. One of the things that we do to assist them in these efforts is that we have a homeownership coordinator who works directly with those individuals, particularly our residents who are interested in purchasing a home. We provide first-time home buying education training classes. We get them connected with resources for financial literacy and credit and debt counseling, and we work one-on-one with them along through the whole entire process. Our homeownership program is a free program. You don't have to pay to go through our classes. They're open to the general public. We educate over 400 individuals through the course of a year, most of the time, through our homeownership buying education efforts. So it is a wonderful program. There will be other opportunities through our Vision 2030 revitalization efforts for homeownership for our residents through the Columbia Housing. But any of our families who are currently housing choice voucher recipients who are interested in purchasing a home, you may contact our housing coordinator, Ms. Tanisha Perkins, and she will be able to assist you if you want to purchase a home using your housing choice voucher.
There are a number of people who've received homes through our FSS program and through the program that Tanisha operates
Yes.
too. And thank you, Commissioner Simmons, for highlighting that, because I agree, oftentimes when people think of Columbia Housing, they may not think first economic engine. They may not think first helping people to realize the dream of homeownership, and we certainly want to keep that first and foremost. Ms. Bean, if it's good with you, we'll go ahead and start closing comments with Ms. Stewart, and then with Ms. Herrera, and then we'll conclude with you, Ms. Stewart.
So Columbia Housing's resident programs is a collaborative effort with the Housing Authority, our residents, and our community members. We need our residents to continue to voice their opinions and their concerns about various programs that they would like for us to see provided for their community. As well, for our community partners, we want to work with you. We would like to bring a lot of the youth programs, senior programs, workforce development, some of our banking institutions that focus on financial literacy. We would like to have all of you at the table to assist us with providing these economic self-sufficiency opportunities for our residents. So if you're interested in partnering with us at Columbia Housing and of our resident program initiatives, you may contact me, Talisha Stewart, at tstewart@columbiahousing.sc.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Ms. Herrera?
I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to share with you our plans for the coming year and provide the update on our Vision 2030 plan. We're very excited, and we hope that you will watch closely as you start to see vertical construction come out first on Forest Drive, and then the other communities that will follow. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Herrera.
And I will just ditto everyone else's comments. Thank you all so much for joining us today for a presentation of our annual plan for fiscal year beginning 2022, concluding June 30, 2023. You've heard a lot of great information here, information that we are certainly fired up and excited about. One of the things that I often say, the team hears me state often, and that is that it truly takes a village. We can't do nearly a third of the work that we do were it not for our community partners that help us do this very important work in delivering services to our families beyond housing. And so we want to just express our commitment to our families, to this community, our commitment of being good stewards of the resources that we have been awarded, and our commitment to providing quality, affordable housing for this community, and just trust that we are going to continue doing the work and being the solution to many families within this community in the city of Columbia and also Richland County. And I do want to also thank the commissioners, Commissioner Chatfield, and Commissioner Simmons, and also Chairman Cromartie, who had to step out, for joining us today as we presented on the agency's strategic goals for the next year. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Bean, and that concludes. I do want to let folks watching know that this video presentation will live on our YouTube page. You can certainly, see it there, and it will also be on our Facebook page for a while, too. Thank you for attending our public hearing on the current annual plan.